Welcome, Maltmates, to review 1139, which is taking place here in the Whisky Bothy, because although there's a few bothies where whisky is drunk in and around Scotland, there's only one Whisky Bothy that, excuse me, I've got incoming. Righto, hello, yes, you're wonderful. You followed me all the way down to the bothy for treats. There you go. The good thing with this cat is he'll take his treats and then he'll go. It always concerns me that he's going to, with his tail or with nosing or nudging, going to knock a bottle over or a glass of whisky over, but it never happens. The cats actually are very nimble, a lot more nimble than myself. I've never been particularly good at climbing up trees. Get a claws out climbing up trees. Anyway, let's talk about this whisky here in this review. This is a different sort of whisky. Same review, because the Whisky Bothies where whiskies get reviewed, some of them very well known and others far less known. I'm reviewing this from Hollywood Distillery, which some of you may never have heard of. However, if you are going to the Edinburgh Arts Festival, which takes place throughout the month of August, and if you are going, I highly recommend you take earplugs, because it's not unusual that a brass band will just be marching down the street at 3 o'clock in the morning, because it's art, darlings, that's what it is. And there are shows left, right and centre, hosted by aspiring and perspiring performers to either packed audiences or empty seats. Whatever's happening at whatever venue, you will find that there's a lot of drama in what is already a dramatic city. Edinburgh is a magnet for visitors because it's a wonderful, intact, highly historical venue, particularly at the centre. But also I recommend you explore a little bit further out than just the Royal Mile in Edinburgh Castle. Edinburgh Castle does not have much to offer you. If you want history, go and visit Stirling Castle. Edinburgh Castle is a tourist trap. You have been warned. When you're in Royal Mile, you will find that there are two main whisky shops. There's Royal Mile Whiskies opposite St Giles Cathedral, and much further down the road towards Holyrood House you will find Cadenhead's Whisky Shop. Both are well worth a visit. If you choose to make the 15-minute walk towards Arthur's Seat beyond the Scottish National Museum, you will find Leonard's Lane and Holyrood Distillery. Holyrood Distillery is what I would arguably call a small boutique distillery, but definitely if you're in Edinburgh and you want to visit a distillery, this is a very good place to go. They do a range of tours and they're very informative and they are very passionate about what they do. Holyrood Distillery started off as a foundation producing a gin, very competent, pretty well done, and some other interesting spirits in experimental ways. I'm not going to elaborate any further. And then they've branched into whisky. However, they don't have a core range. They do not have a large output. Their brand does not appear in some major retailers. It's not widely available, but certainly if you're in Edinburgh, it's what you're going to find in the doorstep, which is reasonably authentic. They regard themselves as a boutique-style, entrepreneurial, creative business. I think I'm being quite reasonable when I say that. And this is one of the bottlings This is called Embra. Right. It's taken me a while to get round to reviewing this, but I think it's worth reviewing because it's a very good illustrative example of some of the new generation of small boutique style creative distilleries, and you may be wondering, is their whisky actually any good, or are they basically a little bit up their own ARS apostrophes? Well, let's have a look at this. Non-age statement, triple distilled, natural colour, we can see that's natural colour, very commendable, unchill filtered, and bottled at, where's my steampunker? Because this is a bit of an eye-opener, frankly. 43.6%. Why didn't they bottle at 46% to put the flavour forward? A little bit more alcohol, more presentation of flavour. They've not just bottled at 43%, they've bottled at a funny, obscure number, 43.6%. And this, frankly, gets my alarm bells ringing. But before we judge too harshly, let's smell and taste the whisky. It's young, it's very clean, fresh fruity, lovely little restrained touch of vanilla. They've been certainly using some bourbon casks here, and some competent casks at that. It's creamy, it's biscuity as in shortbread biscuits. So we're looking at the sweet side of Scottish style biscuits. So rather than oat cakes, we're talking shortbread here. It's slightly honeyed, it's clean, fresh, unambiguous, simple and competently made. And that's just in the nose. You can actually tell a lot from the nose. I mean, I've not even added water. However, this bottle's been open about 3 months. 3 months, yeah, before I finally got round to thinking it was worthwhile reviewing it. And the reason I'm reviewing it is because it's quite obscure, but I know that some of you are looking for the oddities, and this is quite a good representation. That is an odd label. That label of, what would you describe it? Halloween pink and midnight grey blue. It's arguably one of the most horrible, unflattering whisky labels I have encountered on a bottle of whisky in the last 20 years. Goodness knows who picked this colour scheme. I suspect they were having a laugh. That's just my personal opinion. .6%. First taste. Young, competent, yeasty, slightly grain sour, simple, competent. It's well made stuff. Not going to fault them on it. They know how to make whisky. This is a kind of triple distilled version. Going to add some water. 2 millilitres, not a lot. It should have been 46. It's a 43.6. I find that off-putting. It'll be quite a while before I buy another bottle, but that won't be difficult because there's not a lot of it out there anyway. Is there anything else they say in the label? Just to explain, by the way, triple wood maturation, so not triple distilled, but it has that kind of triple distilled lightness to it. You see, if it's unchill filtered, 43.6%, that liquid should be cloudy. So I'm getting mixed messages here. I'm not getting a connectivity going. The thing is, when you've got a boutique distillery, it becomes an excuse for taking license on how you create your whisky and not having a core range and not having a specific introduction signature in which all subsequently experiences of other bottles can be compared. Like, for example, Arran 10-year-old from Isle of Arran Distillery in Loch Ranza. It is the absolute benchmark example of a highly successful and competent core range from the distillery. This distillery doesn't have it. I just find that another small reason to kind of put me off. But I've added some water to this. Let's see where it goes now. No sign of any Scotch mist whatsoever. That concerns me. I'm losing texture. It's kind of light. It's just now, as soon as you dilute it, it starts to go just a little bit thin, right? Which is nothing against this. It's a competent whisky, but it's not lighting my fireworks today. Little bit of crisp, fresh apple note, little bit of mandarin in the background, little bit of pineapple in the background. Interesting enough. Menthol, medicinal, camphorish, savoury, sage, oregano, hint of bay leaf in the background. It turns out to be more interesting flavour-wise than I expected, but it's just not enough to make me rush back to this distillery for another bottle. But I'm sure with their wonderful location, they don't have to worry about too much repeat business. What am I going to give this? $79 out of 100. There we go. A very competent mark, if I say so myself. If you pop back shortly for review number 1139 extras, I'll be talking about things we can do before we buy a bottle to make sure we're buying the right bottle. Now, this is getting increasingly important these days. So join me then for that extras. See you there. Bye-bye.